Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks for joining me today. It's a very nice day here in mid-January in Canada, and I haven't had the car out very much because it's been raining and cold, so I basically keep it in the garage. And today I thought I'd take it out and get the engine all warmed up, get the fluids up to temperature, because I like to do that once in a while with these cars while they're in storage. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what it's like to own a supercar. This particular car is a replica of a 1965 Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe. Now these were racing cars only back in the day, and even though this one is street legal, it's pretty close to the original. So back in 1964 and 65, they were racing these for the GT Championship, racing against Ferrari and all the other big names back in the day. And in 1964, they won Le Mans. In 1965, they didn't win Le Mans, but they did win the GT Championship, so they beat Ferrari for the GT class. Of course, as you all know, the next year they brought out the Ford GT40. Carroll Shelby was also part of that effort, of course. I'll tell you a little bit about this car. It was built in 2013 by a guy named Chris. Hi Chris, if you're watching. And I got it in 2015. So it's not very old, it has just a few thousand kilometers on it. Some pretty hard driving, but not all of it. So let's maybe take a tour around the car and show you the little bits and bobs about it. As with the original cars, this one has the nose vent here. Now that is venting, there you can see the radiator and the radiator fan there. So what happens is your intake air comes in the nose way down low here. You can see how low this is to the ground. It's pretty low, just kind of a hand width. Air goes in there, goes through the radiator, and then it exits here before it gets into the engine compartment like a lot of conventional cars. And what this does is it prevents lift in the front end. That air is exiting, rushing out there. You're not getting any lift in the front end, okay? Because these cars were designed to be going down the long straights in Le Mans, and they don't want the thing to be lifting. They want the thing to be very stable at speed. Let's have a look elsewhere here. Got your big fat tires, of course. These are running on the original size 15-inch Hallebrand style wheels, although these are a reproduction. And if you look closely, they actually are a 5-bolt Ford or Mazda type bolt pattern. And they're made to look like a vintage style knockoff. Going over here, obviously we have our side pipes coming out. We'll show you those a little bit more later. Coming around here, we have our windshield wipers, as you can see. And these little air deflectors here, which are also authentic to the original car. Vintage style side mirrors. And then you also have these plexiglass rear kind of scoop windows here. Got another nice big tire at the back. Let's go underneath there. This has got to be about a 315 section, something like that. It's a pretty meaty tire. It's a reproduction race style tire. Let's go around the back here. There you go. You've obviously got your rear spoiler here. This is an original design as well that was used on the racing cars. One thing that differs in this car from the originals, of course, this is a full glass window. It's not, it does open up, of course, but it's not plexiglass or Lexan or anything like that. This particular build has the battery box here at the back on the passenger side. Battery cutoff switch here, which is standard for race cars and very handy. And this is a nice touch. This is a vintage style filler cap, race style filler cap. As you can see, it looks like a big, you know, racing style thing. However, underneath it is a conventional gas cap, so that's all modern and up to modern safety codes. And more of the same around the side. While we're here, let's unlatch this latch on the side here, and we'll go around and unlatch the other one. So this is a very short door. It's also not a tall door. The opening is actually fairly small. There's a large sill here. You don't have that on a conventional car. Of course, you don't have side pipes on most cars. And here, this is not a super wide sill, but you do have to step well inside to get into the car. Here you go. Oh, I've taken the steering wheel off here because it's easier to get in and out. But here you have your conventional gauges. There's your speedo gauge, and authentic to the original cars, this one has the gauge going the other way, the British style. There's your light switch. Your tachometer is here. And you have your usual complement of gauges here in a cluster, and your switches with protectors there. And then you've got your deep bucket seats. These are aluminum Kirky racing seats. So I'll show you your view from inside here. Just get in. There we are. The view is pretty good from the inside of the car. Your 5-speed Tremec TKO 600 transmission with shifter here. Now, I haven't put any covers on the inner doors here, so you're just getting the view of the hollow door with my hush mat inside there. I used a combination of hush mat and Dynamat on this as well. All right, let's have a look at the engine. All right, we'll show you the engine. Just lift up here. Once you've undone these latches, you can just lift the nose forward, and voila, there's your engine. All right, so this particular engine is a small block Ford. It's a custom built brand new engine for this car. It is a 347 cubic inch engine, which is about 5.7 liters for Europeans and Canadians. You have, obviously, this is an Edelbrock intake and an Edelbrock carb here. This is a 650 CFM carb. And of course, your headers come out on both sides into your side pipes there. And this is the muffler section over here. These are really nice looking. I like working on this car too. Everything's really accessible. Here's your suspension right here. Everything's where you need it to get to it. There's the radiator we talked about before. You remember looking at this shroud that funnels the air back up and out through the hood. Very lightweight. Coming around this side, obviously we have another set of headers here, your other 4 spark plugs, alternator, and your heating system here. Very simple again, and very lightweight. Not a lot of excess in this car. It doesn't have power steering, doesn't have power brakes. Really straightforward. All right, let's put this down. All right, now you've had a look around. I guess it's time to fire it up, and we'll move it back into the garage, because that's all we're gonna do today. And on another episode, we'll take it for an actual drive and put some cameras on it and stuff like that. But I'll have to wait for some good weather.